Is that your first red anything?
In a long, long time.
Yeah.
A long time. I will tell you the story. I have a reddish shirt that I'm gonna wear, so I had a blue shirt on, dark blue, and
Reddish?
I'm in the plane, so I'm gonna now take my shirt off and put this on. And one of the women like kind of looked back as I'm like, I'm not Muss now. I'm not him. I said, you better stay up there. They may be dropping me back to Lex. Woof.
Yeah. No, I think you're good, but I did wonder, being at Kentucky, there's no red allowed.
No,
it's a rival.
No, my wife has no red.
Louisville, yeah.
I have that reddish shirt I'll wear today that she ironed for me. But no, this is colors, all this. I need three things. I need a gym.
Got that.
I need a Dunkin' Donuts. I heard they closed the one down.
Well, we've got one around.
Yeah, it's in Walmart.
Yeah. And now that you're here, they can bring it
I'm
back.
trying to go and say, let's bring one back.
Yeah.
And I need a Catholic church. And they say on campus there's one. That's all I need.
There's several. You're good.
Yeah, I told my wife, you know what I need. I need three things.
You're good. I mean, there might be a few other things as it relates to the whole program, but I understand what you're saying. Did you think 1 week ago today you'd be the head coach at Arkansas?
What day would that be?
Well, today's Wednesday, so it'd be, yeah.
We didn't. I got a call, I think Friday, that we sat down talking about other candidates. And look, in 2007, Coach Broyles, and it was John Tyson that said, will you meet with Coach Broyles and talk about these candidates? Yeah. And then we talked, and he said, what about you? You hear what this is. Why wouldn't you do this? Okay, let me, we meet Friday, and I leave after. I'm out of Phoenix now. And the biggest thing was, I said, as he did the same thing, and then we did it, and it went on. And I said, as we got deeper, I said, listen, we got to slow this train down, because I am not going to do anything that interferes with the national championship game. So Sunday, we talked, okay, we got to wait. But it leaked out. I don't know, it didn't come from me, but it leaked out. And now all of a sudden it's this big thing, but neither side spoke out of respect for the two teams that were playing and their players and their coaches. This didn't need to be that. Now, I didn't know it would be this big. I got off the plane, I thought, where's President Biden? I mean, why are all these people here? So, let me tell you the difference. When I was at Massachusetts, I had a good team, went to the Elite Eight, lost a big country in Eddie Sutton's team, Oklahoma State. And after the game, it was a couple weeks after, Marcus Camby came to me and said, I'm going to stay another year. And I said, are you sure? Because I had talked to the 76ers and the Pistons. I'm staying. Then I said, I'm going to stay then. I'm not going to leave all that he's done for me in the program. I can't leave him there. Couldn't leave. He would have had to sit out or do something he did not want to do. The next year, went to the Final Four. Tony Delk made 8 threes or whatever crazy thing. We were the number 1 team in the country. Kentucky was number 2. Why would we play in a semifinal? Well, that can never happen again, but it happened there. After the game, I'm going to go. And I said, so why? Bruiser got the job, my assistant, so it kind of was smooth. At Memphis in 2007, it was here. But I had Chris Douglas, Antonio Anderson, I had Joey Dorsey, I had Robert Dozier, and a kid named Derrick Rose.
Loaded.
Now, it wasn't that I was loaded, it's that if I left, what happens to them? That's someone's child.
Okay, yeah.
So now I'm like, well, you can't do this for kids. Well, I've done it a few times. So then I did leave in 2010, 9-10, to go to Kentucky. I've had opportunities to leave before this, and I didn't go. But something has changed. What has changed? Do you know anything about basketball, rules, or anything?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Transfer
So,
portal,
there
NIL.
you go. So now, if I leave, they can go wherever they want to go. They're not stuck for a year. They can choose to go pro, go to another pro. They can choose to stay. And if I stayed, they can also choose
To stay or
to
go.
leave, do whatever they want to do. It's different. And it took me a minute to get my bearings on that when he and I started talking, because I'm like, man, I got guys making decisions. They may want to come back. And you know what? It's different. And I didn't tell the story in there, but I'll tell you, we were with a group of us, and there was a priest with us, Father Joe from Philadelphia. We had mass in his room, and then I said to him, okay, I got something I got to talk to you about. And it was on Sunday morning. I got these two opportunities. How do I get led in the right way? So he said, go for a walk, go for an hour as the Arkansas coach. On the way back for an hour, you're the Kentucky coach. What makes you feel better? What in your heart is saying to you? I said, won't he just tell me? I said, how about you, Father? How about you tell me? He said, no, it's not happening. Yeah. And I'll be honest, the thought of building again, and this, Musk did a great job here for 5 years, a couple of Elite Eights, of Sweet 16, but there's not going to, the roster.
Yeah.
So you are starting again,
empty locker room.
like I was at UMass, like I was at Memphis, like I was Kentucky. Kentucky was down when we walked in there. And it's kind of the same, even though there's still that fan. You didn't have to build the fan base or all that. These people, I've seen it already, okay? Honking horns and everything else. But that moved me. The fans here, Kentucky, or anywhere else, I'm not being moved by fans. I mean, they're going to be active and engaged, but what makes me happy, what makes my wife happy, what can we do? Can we have the same impact in this state that we had in Kentucky? Can we go around the state and touch and help and be involved? And I think this could be similar to what we did, whether we were UMass, whether we were Memphis, how we get involved and make a difference. You know, look, my tombstone better not have how many wins, how many how many people have you affected? Not that other, who's going to walk by? Who's this goofball putting his record on his tombstone? What the heck's this about? What was he? Boy, he lived this earth. He was on this earth and living the wrong way. I mean, you get a chance to change lives. I mean, I could walk in a home, and one of the things we do right, it's not going to be like this long. And you know what? That's the same kind of home I grew up in. So it isn't like, this is foreign to me. But go ahead. No, I let you every once in a while ask a question, but go ahead.
Well, you said, I had the opportunity to interview you in 2011, okay? And you said basically what you told me a second ago, that you couldn't leave Memphis. And later you told me in another interview, well, it was Kentucky. It's Kentucky, man. I mean, it was a special place and a special opportunity and the right time for you. But you said at that time, when you said no to Arkansas, you knew this was a special place.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I knew the history. I knew what Eddie Sutton did when he had Ronnie and he had Sidney and he had Marvin and they Arkansas kids, and all of a sudden it's like he started in Barnhill, and all of a sudden it's like this. And then Coach Richardson, who I talked to today, comes in and says, we're going to change this and what we're going to do in the style and the 40 minutes of hell and all of a sudden you got Scotty and you got Corliss, and I didn't realize this. I was in my office and my son pointed to it. I have a big poster in my home office of the 94 Springfield game, the Hall of Fame game, and I sent it to Coach Richardson. Him at one side, me at the other, Lou Rowe in the middle, Corliss in the middle. I think it was Derek Kellogg. And he said, I remember the game. I remember too.
30 years ago.
Yeah, I remember. Do you remember? How old would you have been? 4, 5?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We beat him pretty good.
Yeah.
Up there. He remembered though.
Oh, yeah.
But just think about it. I'm coming in that. And what one of the first questions I asked, has anybody talked to Coach Richardson? Now you understand how close Coach Sutton and I were. He came into my locker room at my games in the end, and I think I was maybe one of the last people to talk to him before he passed away. Really? So I was that close.
Yeah.
So I said, what did Coach Richardson say? Loved it because he cares about kids. Think about that. Now, for me walking in, what if he, Calipari, you know. He didn't. He was like, I'm loving it. We talked today. He laughed. We were talking about the old times.
That's
and,
awesome.
you know, they were coming off a national championship. They had everybody back. First game of the year, and we kind of spanked them. And then they went on to the final game and lost to UCLA, I believe, in the final game.
I want to tell you something about Arkansas. I came here in '98 from West Palm Beach, Florida. Never left. But the way people outside of Arkansas, I want to show you something real quick. Think of and talk about Arkansas. And this is about you. Watch this real quick. It's about a minute. This is what people are saying after you say you're coming to Arkansas.
John Calipari to Arkansas. When I read it this morning, I wondered if it was April Fool's Day and not solar eclipse day.
Yeah. Why would I leave Kentucky at $8.5 million to go to Arkansas?
Takes over a program that finished third to last in the SEC. So, as you said, the bar is low there for Coach Cal to make a difference. Thanks, Pete.
I don't need any more of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Okay, so but this is Arkansas fans see that. And I wonder what you think when you watch that. And people
look,
say that
when
about
I
Arkansas.
when I went, you know, they can say what they want about this, but everybody who's ever lived here, who's ever been here, who has friends here, like I have people calling me about this guy is the salt of the earth. He's one of the best human beings. He's a very wealthy guy. Cal, he is the most honorable guy I've ever been around. You talk about the common, all of us. And my guess is this is one of the most charitable states that people get involved in causes and charity, all that stuff. Let's see what they're saying in a couple years. Let's see if they're saying the same thing. Look, I had a great run. I had 15 years at Kentucky. I have some of the greatest friends, lifelong friends, like I do at UMass and Memphis, that are going to be with me the rest of my life. This was a different challenge and a new challenge. And like I looked at my wife and I told her, you got a lot of courage. You want to do this. You got some chutzpah. Like you're like.
Walk me through that conversation with your family about coming to Fayetteville.
Well, when she and I talked about it, I said, how would you feel? I'm good. I'm good. You've done everything you could do here. You got involved in every side of this state. What else are you going to do? And, you know, I said, well, chasing down championships. And, yeah, but you have, and you fall short a little bit. And, you know, and I said, look, I like the fact that I'm making a little less here than I would if I stayed. No one's going to say I did it for money. They might, but, you know, or whatever reason they want to say. I am doing something that's going to make me happy, my family happy. I loved my time there. Loved it. But you know what? I'm going to love my time here too.
Well, I think you may have said somewhere along the way when you were talking about coaching tenures that 10 years is maybe the max somewhere. And you went 5 years past that.
I had an opportunity to leave at 10 years, and I
Yeah.
probably should have. And I didn't. Back then, again, you're leaving players.
Right.
That kind of got me to stay. Joe B. Hall, I said, how long, Coach? He looked around, he goes, 10 years. Yeah. Is what he said. He said, I stayed 3 too many.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping the people in Kentucky don't feel like I stayed too long.
Well,
I hope they're looking at it
yeah.
saying that, you know what, he did what he did. And they look at what we did. And I'll other than when they're playing us, I'm not, and there's no ill will toward Kentucky. This is me coming to Arkansas because I wanted to do this. And I want to do it with all of us. I'm a gatherer. You know, if I do this right, there should be thousands saying, without us and me, this would have never happened at Arkansas. If I do right, you bring people together.
What does a change do in that way for you personally? I mean, you're a Hall of Famer, Coach. You won a national championship. Honestly, like, you can walk away tomorrow and you can hold your head high. You had a great career.
Because I love what I'm doing, but I love. Can you imagine? My dad was a baggage handler, worked at the mill for a while. My mom worked at the junior high school cafeteria. She sold the ice cream for a dime back then. And I'm able to help people change lives. Could you imagine? We've had 55 guys. We've had 100 graduates. They're not all basketball players, but a bunch of them are. And I got a chance to help people change lives. Why would I want to stop doing that if I can do it? And that's what this is. Now, do I want to win championships? If you ever watch me and you're ever in my practices, my passion for this has not changed. The game has changed, and now, you play a little different. I went to dribble drive, first guy when I was in Memphis, changed how we played. Then we went positionless. Now, fast, random, how we're playing. But the same is true. Taking care of kids. It's about players first. If I'm about them, they'll be about each other. If they're about each other, we'll compete for championships. Do you want to win every year like UCLA did in the 70s? Yeah. UConn won 2 in a row. I mean, that's near impossible. You want to be in the hunt every year with a chance. And that means you get a good seed, you're playing your best basketball. You ready for this? You're healthy. What happened to Houston? What happened to Houston?
Somebody got hurt.
Their point guard got hurt, and they lost. They may have won the national title. Stuff happens in that tournament, and it's not best of 7. It's one game. My teams, there are times we've been lucky, and there are times we've been unlucky. There are times that I didn't think my team should be that good, and there's other times I thought, geez, we were better. This year's team, I'm still sick about how it ended because I felt we could have won the national title. I really believed that. And I think they believed it. But you know what? At the end of the day, those kids came in and worried about me after we're having a meeting, and they were great kids. And that's what I want here. You recruit the best people who happen to be really good basketball players that understand what it means to be a great teammate. And then the culture of the work, the discipline, the professional habits, it all kicks in over a period of time. It's a process. And all of a sudden, you have a culture that you want.
Nobody's recruited better than you have in the last 10, 15
I'm overrated as a recruiter, but
the rankings all say that.
I know that.
I mean,
I hope I'm a better coach than I am a recruiter, but I've been overrated as a recruiter.
So I don't need to tell you, the whole conversation now is all about the transfer portal. And do you go get young guys or do you get veterans? There's one freshman starting among the 4 teams in the Final Four this year. Well, what is the approach there?
I think you do both. I think you do both. Now, we probably had a few freshmen too many last year, but we also had 3 big guys that were hurt. We were playing without them. One came back 10 games in, the other came back 15 games in, the other came back 20 games in. Now we're trying to do it. We had some injuries. Stuff went on. But I think you need now, we had Antonio Reeves, who ends up coming to us from Illinois State. He's now going to be drafted in the NBA after 2 seasons. Was unbelievable player for us and gave us a vet and a strength. Trey Mitchell did the same. I say Trey Lyles, that's from a few years back. He did the same, but he got hurt. He was out 3-4 weeks. The best game he had for the last month and a half, 2 months of the season was the last game. I think you need both. And I think you have to have that tough. Now, you can recruit young players if they're freshmen, maybe a little bit older, or if they're freshmen and they're way physically mature. Now, I've had that. I mean, Michael Kidd could have played now or then when he played. I mean, we've had both, where you had a guy that was, the kids that like Carl Towns and Trey Lyles, and those kids could have played now, and they were physical and able to do it. But I think you need both.
So tell me about NIL now. And like when you take this job, I would imagine, and you tell me, now obviously what anybody gets paid matters, but then beyond that, now we have basically a budget for players in today's college basketball, or an NIL fund or a collective or whatever. How big of a factor is that in building a basketball program in today's world?
Well, it's a factor, but 70% of the players I recruited to Kentucky got drafted. I don't know if you heard what I said.
I did.
And of that 70%, 73% got second contracts. They were prepared for the league. They would say their first year in the NBA was with me and our staff. So you're going to come to Arkansas for NIL, or are you coming for what's real? Now, you better be doing what you're doing in NIL, but to say that that's the overriding factor, it's that you're coming to the wrong place. If you're drinking, smoking, clubbing, chasing, why would you come here? If you're not into basketball, if you're not into training, if you're not into learning to be professional, if you're not working on yourself mentally, why would you come here for 100,000, 200,000, 400,000, 500,000? One of the things I worry about is that people are paying young people at age 22, well, that's sometimes 25, 26, 27. Why are kids not leaving college? Did you leave the minute you could get out of school and start? Well, people are staying 3 and 4 extra years because they want NIL money. Here's the issue. The most somebody makes in their life is at age 22. That means $250,000. Their first job, they're offered a job.
80 grand, maybe.
Maybe.
If
How about
lucky.
65?
Yeah.
And they, what? 65?
Right.
Do I get a car? I get an apartment? You got meals? Do I got to come in?
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm conscious of all that, and but I'm one of the ones that said all along, we got to take care of these kids. This money's all coming in. We're all getting paid, and they're hungry for a hamburger because they got to the meal room late, and we can't do that. We can't do that. So right now, the powers that be got to come together to figure out what we're going to do. But my thing will be, we're going to do right by kids, but challenge them, love on them, get them to understand, hold them accountable. You're going to be held accountable. You're here for each other, and let's go and do this.
Maybe this isn't the right question, but you'll understand where I'm going. What do the first 10 days on the job look like for you? What do you got to get done?
I got to go west for the Wooden Award. So I got to go, I'm getting an award out there, so I got to go 2 days. In the interim, I will be talking to staff, about staff, and talking to kids in the portal. Who's out there? Who's released? I mean, one of the players here that was released was pretty good. Probably give them a call. Like, what are you thinking here? If they've put their name in the portal, the same deal. What are you looking? Look, if I don't think I can help a player, I'm not just going to take somebody to say, well, he makes this and that. How am I going to help him? Because if we're helping him, he's going to go one extra step for us.
So this roster, I'm pretty sure I don't have to ask, have you ever been in a situation like this? There's really not a roster here right now. There's guys that just went in the portal, and they're not committed anywhere that I'm aware of. But there's pretty much no scholarship players on this roster.
I've changed my team just about every year. Maybe had 1 or 2 guys return. So it's just the coaching part, we'll figure it all out. But it's like we got to get a roster. Everybody's going crazy right now. Well, let's go crazy about getting players here and getting that group of 9, 10 that you're going to go to war with. And they're all bought in. They're bought into working as a team. You can't, if you're only concerned with you don't understand how to bring joy to yourself. You got to be concerned about other people. You got to make somebody else feel good. Brings joy to you. You got to be something to your teammate to celebrate and do all that stuff. You do that kind of stuff, you're going to say, wow, it makes me feel good. No question that's part of being a great team and a great teammate.
Somebody sent me something on social media right before we started this, and I think it was DeMarcus Cousins. And he said, y'all don't understand. Arkansas is about to be the spot, just like Memphis, just like Kentucky.
You know,
What's your reaction to that?
Well, it was like, you can't get this thing, guys. Maybe not. We're going to see. But Marcus and John and Bledsoe were coming to Memphis. And then I left. They're like, I'm not going to Memphis. I'm going with him to Kentucky. I mean, I think in this day and age, young people are going for who the coach is. I know that makes administrators mad and all. They're coming for us. And I'm just telling you, I think they come for coaches, and including staff. Like, they give me all the credit. I've had unbelievable staff that have been great recruiters. I'm not going to call an 18-year-old 6 times a week. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do it. Unless they tell me I need you to do that, and then I'll do it. But the reality of it is that's staff and what they do. And then when they get here, the staff, the daily stuff, and everyone in this program, from secretaries to trainers to weight strength to managers to GA, everybody in the athletic department is a recruiter. When they come in and it's just, that's how I've always done it. I want everybody to feel they're a part of it.
All right, Coach, last thing. I ask everybody on this Hog Pod this question. When your time here is done, whenever that is, how do you hope Razorback fans remember your time here?
He was more than a basketball coach. Simple.
All right. Well done. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Welcome to campus, man. It's good to see you again,
Good to
Cal.
see you.
Always.
Thanks.